Hey guys, Jim here. Time to share with you now a fairly recent acquisition of mine. I've actually had it for a couple of weeks now. I picked this up at the New York Custom Knife Show from my good friend Jon Gray. You guys know him as the maker of the Thuck knife, which in the next couple of months I'll be reviewing as well because John's making me one of those. But Jon is a rather prolific collector. He likes to collect a lot of different makers' knives. And this was one that he happened to have with him at the show. You guys know I've been chasing a Graham forever. I had a chance to review the GL Tanto that belonged to a friend of mine in a guest blade, and I fell in love with it. Then I picked up the prototype for him that I fell in love with. And then when I finally got my very first one, which was the collaboration, the Midnight Razel, I thought that was going to be my end-all be-all, but I wasn't crazy about the unique flipper tab that was at the front of the handles, and I wanted a more traditional flipper. So I finally now have the knife that I've wanted, and now that I've carried it for a couple of weeks, I've actually carried this and my Ramon Chavez Redención more than any other knife since I've gotten back from the show. It is everything that I wanted it to be. It is just amazing. Yeah, I paid over what Jon Graham sells these for, but really not by a hell of a lot. In a thread conversation on Instagram, when I had taken a few pictures of this, which Jon was kind enough to shoot me some nice words about, somebody asked me what these had sold for. I said, I've never seen one selling at his price, so I'm not sure. I said I'd figure around $1,200, and Jon said, yep, you're right, about $1,200 with the Zircuti that's inlaid into the titanium. We'll talk about that in a moment. And I paid considerably more than that, but I don't feel I overpaid. I do know a dealer that had one identical to this for a while. I even tried to negotiate a deal with him, but I wasn't going to pay what he wanted. He had it for about I want to say it was $1,800. So I paid more than 12, paid less than 18, so I feel I'm in good shape. Now, for those that haven't seen my three other Graham videos, let's talk about the clip for a moment first. This has Jon's tail clip, which at first, before I got a chance to handle one, I was unsure as to how it was going to work, how effective it was going to be. I knew that it felt great in the hand because now you don't have a pocket clip on either side of the handle digging into your hand. And I was just like, I'm not really too sure. And when I tried to carry my buddy's GL Tanto, the very first time I went to carry it, it actually moved itself kind of up and around and fell into my pocket. And I was a little worried because I was getting on my Harley, and I was like, oh my God, if that would have gone out the other way, that could have been tumbling down the freeway at 90 miles an hour, and that would have sucked. So I was a little bit iffy on them. And but I could tell you now, after carrying this for 2 weeks, I would say at least 4 days a week out of each of those weeks, I've not had a single issue. The tail clip is amazing. And when you're carrying it, this is all that you see sticking out of the pocket. The whole knife drops into your pocket. And typically, I'm not a deep carry clip guy. As a matter of fact, I've actually had makers where I either have a knife on order from them or have ordered knives from them that traditionally do deep carry, and I say, no, you got to design me another clip because I won't carry a deep carry clip because it's too hard to get a hold of the knife and get it out of your pocket. I want a little bit for this part of my hand to grab onto, or at least my fingers if I want to pull it out that way. And I can with this because the unique way this carries, because this clips over the back side of your pocket. Think of where that rivet is on the backside of your jeans pocket. This is basically going over and around that rivet. So what it does is it kind of sits a little bit like this. So your pocket's like this, and the knife sits a little bit like this. So I can reach in, grab it, and pop it right out in my hand. Super simple, super easy. The action on this knife is fantastic. He makes incredible flippers very, very fast. I can either swipe back on it like I like to do, or I can kind of push button it and preload that flipper a little bit because he's got a really nice detent on here. And it fires like a rocket for such a huge and very, very thick blade. So here is the Razel grind that I've really fallen so much in love with. And a follow-up for you guys that may have watched my last Razel video. I made a call out to Jon Graham and I said, dude, if there's anybody out there that needs to make a mid-tech, it's you. That way the knives are more readily available and they're lesser expensive and more people can experience what I think is probably the best utilitarian blade in the world of knives right now. And I talked to him very shortly thereafter. I forgot if it was on the phone or it was through messaging. But he says, you know what, he goes, I actually am looking at doing a mid-tech line of knives. It's not anytime soon, but it is something I've definitely considered doing that I want to do. So guys, that is going to happen. There will be a mid-tech Razel at some point, maybe in a year, maybe in 2, who knows, but then everybody gets to experience this great blade. And the reason I love it is you obviously have your standard grind here, very, very, very sharp edge, but the whole front of the blade there, and you could see that mirror polish on there. That is every bit as sharp as the primary cutting edge. So you've got a great scraping tool, you've got a really sharp corner here where you can, dig into material, you can, kind of twist it and kind of dig stuff out. It is one of the most phenomenal blades that you're ever going to experience. And I love the fact that this is a dressier model. What you've got here is Chad Nichols' Zircuti. And I contacted Chad about this and I said, so what really is this? He goes, it's 3 alloys that I'm using to make this type of like mokutai. So it's mokutai, but not with the standard materials. He goes, the 3 alloys are 6Al4V titanium, which is a titanium alloy, and then pure titanium, and then zirconium. And I'm creating it out of that. And what John's doing is he heat colors the zirconium, and then he anodizes it green. So the zirconium comes out nice and dark and black, and the 2 alloys of titanium come out in their rich tones of green. You guys know green is actually a real pain in the ass to anodize to, so that's the final color you can get to before you then have to, basically sand it down and start all over again. And he says that Jerry McGinnis actually taught him that trick. I talked to John about the making of this knife, and he credits Jerry McGinnis for teaching him that little trick. That's kind of neat. The pivot is actually custom made of titanium. That's how he got the green color in the ano. It was actually made for him by Steve Kelly. So it's really cool to see a completely custom pivot in here and to get that really sweet green. And then John made these really cool, completely square standoffs, which I've never seen before. I'm not saying nobody's ever done it, I've just never seen it. So you've got these really cool square titanium standoffs that are anodized green. John did say it was quite a pain in the ass to make those things, so I feel kind of special that it's sitting here in my knife, because he said he had to grind these by hand. He couldn't do anything with a machine; had to be ground by hand. So I thought that was pretty cool. So you've got the Zircuti on both sides, which really creates a beautiful look. I'm not really a guy that's into the color green, but this has kind of become my go-to knife, and every time I look at that green, I fall even more in love with it. It's just sexy as hell. He's done a really cool orange peel finish on here. Very exaggerated. It's got a really nice texture to it. It's got some nice dark stone wash through there as well. Overall, I mean, this is just about the damn perfect everyday carry knife. I've used this thing to do everything from cut down cardboard to... Actually, it got quite the workout today. I was cleaning out my garage and I had this, and I had a knife that Jon Gray ground for me while I was hanging out in Tough Thumb's shop. And he ground the knife in front of me. It's a little fixed blade. And then Jeff did some work with it too, so it's kind of like a collaboration. And I used that knife and this knife today to basically just hack down anything I had in my garage that I had to make smaller and throw in the garbage bin. And I mean, it still looks like brand new. It's not quite as sharp as it was, say, 12 hours ago, but it certainly did the job very, 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 very well. There's only a little mark on there, so don't really care about that. I bought this to use. I didn't buy this to. I don't buy any knife to sit and just stare at. I mean, every knife I have, if I've discovered after a short amount of time that I don't carry it and I don't use it, then I sell it. That's just the way that I am. And I really wanted to have one of these to use because I still think this is one of the best user blades that money can buy in the custom knife world anyway. So there we have right there the markings. It is a Boz heat treat. We've discussed that before in at least one of my other Graham videos. I know I did in the GL Tanto video. CPM 154 cm for the steel, so it's going to have a pretty good edge retention. Like I said, I kind of abused it a little more than usual today, but so I'll just sharpen it up really quickly. Here's the lockup. Not super early, but not super late either. I'd say it's about 40% lockup, at least through the little tiny viewfinder that I have here on the camera. And you'll notice that the Zircuti, it's a very thick inlay. You'll notice that is actually acting as your over travel for your titanium lock bar. Great detent on this. Locks in very solidly, very firmly. And I love the contouring that Jon does on all of his handles. I've yet to handle a single Graham that didn't feel fantastic in the hand. This is thicker than the GL Tanto, but not quite as thick as the prototype that I had handled, and just a little bit slimmer than the Midnight Razel. So for me, this is kind of the perfect fit. Fits great in the hand. Love all the contouring. Love the big choil up here. He's got a choil up here on the blade, so you can kind of choke up on it. Beautiful grinds. He does some of the most. I think him and Kirby Lambert and Jim Burke are the guys that I really look to and go, damn, that's some amazing grinds. Jeremy Marsh as well. I can't, if I start naming a few, then I'm leaving a whole bunch out that I also admire. But I really put him up there with those guys. Grinds are amazing, and they're consistent from left hand to right hand. Take a good look there. Nice consistency all the way around. And then the creation of this Razel style blade. I do have to be careful sometimes with this knife because you're not used to this end being a cutting edge. So he does a great job of hiding it all the way in the frame without making the frame ridiculously huge in the ass end. So anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a look at this. I've been enjoying the living shit out of it. I love this knife. This is one that I very seriously doubt will ever leave my collection. It's everything I've been looking for. And it's going to be one of those knives that I can look at and go, well, if it comes time to sell every single knife I've got, I'm only going to hold on to a handful of them, this is one of the very few that's in my forever keeper pile. So anyway, that is a quick look at it. Jon, thank you so much for the time that you spent with me, both on the phone and through emails and whatnot, talking to me about your great knives. I just think you're a phenomenal dude. You're making an incredible product, and great customer service to back it up as well. To my buddy Jon Gray, thank you, dude. I'm so overwhelmed with the knife. I'm really glad to finally be able to own it. And it was, it's an extra pleasure for me to buy it from a friend. So that was always nice. All right, guys, I'm going to hop out of here for now. I've got a whole bunch of videos that I got to do. I've still got some guest blades sitting here. In the next day or two, I've got a ZT 888 that's landing. I can't wait to. I've had a chance to play with it already, and I can't wait to actually come out here and play with it on camera. That sounded dirty. You know what? I don't care. I'm going to play with it on camera. I'll play with it in public. I'll play with it on the friggin' public bus if I knew where there was a public bus stop. And tomorrow, actually, my first Jim Burke finally arrives. I've been pestering him for about a year, and I got in on his new model, the Dead Man Walking. That arrives tomorrow. And then hopefully in the next 6 months, my Villain is going to get made. So, yeah, I'm kind of on cloud nine knife-wise right now. Between this, the modulator I just got from R.J. Martin, that Redención from Ramon Chavez. It's been a really great month for me for knives. I will make a quick announcement here at the tail end of this. Has nothing to do with Jon Graham, unfortunately, so sorry, John. But just a quick announcement, my very first collaboration knife, we just agreed to it, myself and Frank Fisher. If you don't know Frank Fisher, go check out the review that I did on his battle. He is making me a one-off battle that should be done in the next couple of weeks. He said it was going to be done by Christmas. Mine's larger and thicker. I think mine's about twice as thick as everybody else's, and I'm going to have some Damascus in there and some other cool shit. But we've been talking a lot lately. We've made to be fast friends, and I submitted one of my designs to him. He liked it, and we are going to produce it. It'll be in really limited numbers. We're talking already like 20 or less. And I mean, yeah, they're going to be pricey. I mean, Frank's work is, it's unbelievably amazing. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be over $1,000, but we're going to try and keep it under 1,500 if there's any way possible. It's hard to describe. I'm not going to show you the sketches or anything yet because there's still maybe some tweaks, but it's going to be very sleek and very modern looking. So just kind of keep that in your mind. It's not an overbuilt knife. It's not anything crazy like that, but it's a very sleek kind of modern look to it. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully in the next 6 to 8 months, we should see those come out. I think that'll be a hell of a lot of fun. All right, guys, I'm out of here for now. I'll see you guys on Instagram and Facebook and everywhere else that we've been hanging out at. Thank you for all of your support. My viewership, my subscribers are growing tremendously. I've got some deals in the works, maybe with a retailer where I can start bringing in even more quantities of guest blades to give you more access to more cool stuff that we don't typically get a chance to see. So, you know, if that pans out, then we might be looking at 7 or 8, 9 guest blades every single month or more. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty crazy all up in here. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later.